Hi everyone, welcome back. Today, this is a really a difficult episode for me because the day I'm recording this is the 31st of May, and it's something that I've been practicing the last few months where I reflect on what happened for me in the month that is now gone. And I started this practice a few months ago because time was slipping through my fingers so fast that I could not remember and I could not grasp all the lessons that I had learned in each month. So I decided to create this ritual of sitting down on the last day of the month to write down all the significant things that have come to pass in my experience with it. And the reason I'm sharing myself in this vulnerable way this month is because I actually yesterday was contemplating not doing it anymore, not sharing myself at all. And it's weird because how energy works is that obviously we get the signs, and today I'm getting the sign that it's time to double down. So why do I do this? First of all, I think that when I share my personal stories with you guys, I'm humanizing all of this knowledge that it can feel so out there or so unattainable. And the truth is, we have to do this in our bodies. We have to alchemize all of this energy through our experiences, through our bodies, through our interactions with others, and through like holding light as much as you can, in every given situation. But in that, so much comes up for each of us. It's not like this like fairy tale ending, It's like what I'm finding is every month since I started this ritual, I see myself going through these waves of like extreme ups and extreme downs. And I know it all is for me, and I'm here for it, and I try to like grasp the nuggets of knowledge from each high and low. But I also know that like you guys can be looking at me and thinking like, oh, she's got a great life and everything is perfect. So today I want to go through the month with you and share like a little bit of behind the scenes of what I have experienced. And again, all this is to double down on vulnerability, knowing that this is reaching the right people to understand why vulnerability is the most important and why in vulnerability, that's where the light is. If we harden ourselves because of these experiences that we experience each month, each day, then who wins? I mean, that's where I come to. Like, I can get hurt, like deeply hurt, and feel like, God, this person doesn't understand me at all. And then, like I said yesterday, go through this period of why, what is it for? But then I know, because as soon as I contemplated that, I received an email from one of you beautiful souls that helped me reminded me exactly why I do this. So today, yes, I'm doubling down. Okay, so I talked about why I'm finding this to be more and more important right now and as we move forward. Time is moving so fast right now. And if we aren't able to reflect and see how much growth we've had through a period of time, then it all kind of like swirls together, and it's like you can get yourself under this kind of like heaviness of I haven't done anything towards my goal, towards my awakening, towards my letting go, shadow work. Anything, you can name it. But if we start to keep track of where we started the month and where we finished the month, and you see the story that unfolded in that process, you can start to see the nuggets of growth in your own journey, and understanding that through these growth points, It's just bringing us to the next iteration of ourselves, the next octave. So if you're going through it, it's for you. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about and touch on is this month for me, I experience so much light, love, and higher support from those closest to me, more than I've ever experienced in my entire life. Now, what does that look like? I mean, that feels like so grand, but honestly, I felt so held by so many people. And not that I even needed the holding as the month progressed. I felt like by last month in the eclipse, when the eclipses started, releasing those anchors, I dropped so much density that I was able to move forward in myself and my own like actual physical body of opening myself to others and letting what my personality would say, I don't want to reach out to that person, or, do I really need to put myself out there in this particular thing? What happened by releasing those anchors is I just opened my heart and I could be in the moment with each person that is in my life, both like in my physical experience and in my virtual like friendships that I have. And not virtual, I don't know if that's the word, because they're real people, but they are not in my vicinity. And what I understood is that the more present that I became, the more I could receive each person for every single nuanced word that they expressed to me in a way that I could actually see it and feel it. And that led me to then see like how this same group that is surrounding me, how they support not only the people in their family with their capacity to do that, but then they also have an extra capacity to support others. And I mean, the whole reason we're here is to give that our vibration to others. So when I see others rising in that same light, it's like it not only heals, let's say, the person that they're talking to, that I am kind of like a fly on the wall watching, but it also heals a fractal of me, because we are everything and we are each other. So when one other person is able to feel that vastness of love and support, I feel it, I feel it to my core. And this month for me has been unlike any other. And in a way, like when I see others being supported in their healing, it is literally helping me to open up to give more, like break down even more barriers to my heart and just say like, okay, I'm throwing it out there. I don't know how this is going to land, but I have to trust that my heart knows the way. And even if it's not received, it's not the point. The point is that we do it. So that was my number one point of my reflections this month. The number 2 point that I have is I had, so much expansion this month. It started with the Angelic Pearls 144 book that opened up this portal for me. But my gosh, so many new concepts, ideas, lineages, DNA activations, codes came pouring in. And I kind of went first. I want to explain how I felt this so that everybody can either find an identity point in this and know that you're not alone. But what it felt like is I wanted to retreat. That was the first feeling. It's too much. It's too much. I can't breathe. I can't hold this. I can't handle this. And I pulled back. I was like, up until this month, I have felt like this kind of easy trickle of information come in that I could digest, that I could put it in its place and share and move on to the next, but it all felt like it was manageable. This month, that went out the window. It was like, okay, you dropped those anchors. Now you have space. You're holding this. And what I realized is that the more that I tried to hold it with my mind, because that's what I went to right away, is I wanted to understand it. And I couldn't. no matter, I let a couple weeks go by and I could not hold it in my mind. And then it was through a meditation, like a journey meditation, that helped me realize that I'm not here to hold it in my mind. I have to feel it. I have to let go of my mind trying to comprehend something, because I can't anymore. I think I've gotten to this place in my journey where everything that is like in a linear mind thinking is gone. Like, I have to open up so much of my being to understand not only that these codes are only coming to me because I already hold them, right? Okay, so that's number one. But number two, even if they're coming from outside of me, I have to find it inside. And that's not going to be up here. It's got to be in my heart. It's got to be in my DNA. It's got to be me. So then it became this kind of game of finding the memories and the vibrations and the discernment, really, of my own being. And what that looked like before I understood how to do it is I started getting that pain again in the back of my neck in the 9th chakra, which I did an episode called the Atlas Adjustment. If you don't know about the 9th chakra opening, I give my experience of it and how I helped ease the pain of it. But yeah, this month it went right back, and it was like I was back in, I think it was in October when this started for me. And just receiving so much energy, I couldn't hold it. And I have a friend that said, it's because your mind's trying to get involved. And of course she was right. Of course. I could not see how to absorb everything and hold it without the mind. So then that night I went to sleep and I said, I release my mind. I have to release my mind. What was happening is it was like my ego's last attempt at just like throwing everything against the wall and being like, I've got this under control, you know? When in reality, I have absolutely nothing under control. And I don't want it. I don't want control. You know, I want to be in flow. I want to be in, actually, this word came to me this month called harnessability. Can we let go of our mind needing to control it and just jump on the back with a harness on it and just ride the wave? That's how I got to this point in this month, was like, she needs to just step aside 100%. This is not about my mind, my ego, my personality. And if I am, let's say I'm only being given all of this information in one time node month, which is May. Okay, let's just pretend that's it. If I resist and I pull back into my body because I can't hold it, then do I miss the ride? Do I completely miss that activation that's right there for me, saying I would only be here for you if you were ready for me? It's literally my ego that was like, no, store's closed. We are not ready. Pulling back in. And I worked through that this whole month of, it was a dance. It was like, okay, I can let certain things in, but I can't let this in. Or I can, okay, how do I reconcile this particular topic with everything else that I already have embodied? And how does it fit into my puzzle, my bigger puzzle of me, you know, and do I see myself in that? And then what came flooding in is these feelings of unworthiness. And I have heard so many of you guys talk about this, and I haven't experienced it until this month. I went through, and I think I've released it now, but I went through about 2 weeks of not understanding why, like why me, you know? I think some of you have called it the imposter syndrome. Why did my soul choose this vessel to express this light here? Now, why me? Why am I involved in this picture? Even if my personality needs to take the back seat, why me? And I questioned that in so many different ways this month, through friendships, through experiences, through everything being aligned in exactly the way that it is, and through me just being able to sit and receive, which I've talked about this before. I have such a hard time receiving. And then it's like, can I dissect that even further? You know, like when it comes down to it, my fear or my hesitancy to receive is all due to unworthiness. You know, there's a core wound in me that believes that to receive love at the level of that I've been receiving it is pure light. Like, imagine this. Fifth dimension, there is no like, okay, this person did something for me, so now I give back. Or I see there's persons in need and maybe they can also give me something, so I give. When you get to a higher dimensional place, it is love. So that person that is giving love is just that. And what I realized is that I haven't met that frequency yet. I have not gotten to the place where I can just like almost bask in the glow of someone else's gift. I mean, really, that's how it feels, because obviously I've been the role of the giver for a long time in my whole life. That I am a nurturer. So I know how it feels to make others happy, but to allow my vessel to open up completely to let someone else feel that gift in their own body to help me on my journey, it just felt like, how do I even... And when I can't remember where I saw it reflected this month, but something that I saw talked about, we're moving into this new way of being, which is allowing others to shower us with this love without believing there's an ulterior motive. Because at the end of the day, when we shower people with love, we're showering it to ourselves, which is a reflected mirror of ourselves, you know? And when one of us rises in that grace, the giver also rises in the grace, because we are all one, right? So if I light up someone else's fractal and I witness it and I nurture it and I believe in it, what I'm doing is believing in myself. Because I know that there's a part of my elixir, if we use a word from Zanita's book, that is in that soul because they're in my experience. And if that person wouldn't be in my experience, if I wasn't in them, you know, literally. So the more that we can just like unabashedly realize that we're moving into a time that is unlike anything that any of us have ever experienced. And can we just learn not only in like literally you have to learn both sides, because you can't just give. Like my experience has been that I feel like I'm much more comfortable in the giving role, and in the little ways that you all have reflected to me back and I have received it. I'm noticing words are easier for me to digest. Gifts are extremely hard. And I would say, let's say divine messages are even harder. Like that's how I would be able to rank them. And now I understand that it is through the receiving that makes this pearl whole. Right? If we only have half of the equation, which is to give, we don't have that toroidal energy moving of like whoosh, 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 because you can't keep the energy flowing unless you are able to receive back what you give. And then I look at, okay, so what I'm receiving is just a reflection of what I give. And I can't, like, this is how it felt. Can I even stand the light that's coming my way? I can't, I couldn't even breathe. Like I couldn't breathe. So I know that it is a vibration that I'm working with, and it is something that I've learned how to do, but how do I take it in? like, and imagine it like that toroidal field. You cannot be whole until you allow the exhale and the inhale, and the exhale and the inhale. And it's a hard one. It's a hard one. And I don't think I've mastered it, but I can see it now. And once I got the download that I could see why it's so important, it really helped me to get my ego to be like, oh, okay, this kind of trumps my unworthiness card. And so, okay, I can see why that's needed, and therefore I can sit in the back seat on this. And man, to receive this much light this month has been the joy of the entire month. Like if I weigh the ups and downs of the whole month, I mean, I literally have. I wrote down the ups and downs of the entire month, and this one lesson for me kind of outweighs it all. And that's why I'm sharing all of it today. Because why? I have to give in order to receive. And even when I wanted to close back into my heart and protect myself, it's like, nope, it's time to double down and push it back out. So number 3 was, I met this month some of the most beautiful soul-filled lights that I've ever experienced. If I did a reading with you in the month of May, you're one of them. And I mean, I have chills just saying it, because if we are a reflection of what we put out, I know that my experiences, my vulnerability are reaching the people that it's supposed to, because the conversations that I was able to have this month through readings and healings were, I mean, honestly, a gift to me. And I know, like, how is that possible? Because if you think about it, if someone pays for a reading or a healing session, what do I receive out of it? But honestly, it's because I get to go into your energy and bask in that glow that you are. And for me, that was another, just one of the highlights of this month. Also, I got to showcase or interview one of the lights that I met in this way, Faith, and I got to share and nurture her experience to get to the place where she felt comfortable sharing her stories with you guys. And when I say to you guys, when we nurture someone else's rising, we're really nurturing our own seed. You know, we're literally nurturing that in us, but wanting to see it reflected in others. And this happened with Faith. And we had a conversation after that episode went out. And we were talking about who it was actually for and who it would, you know, hopefully reach. And what came through was that, what if it was for each of us? Me to learn how to receive the energy and nurture it, and her to open up her throat and hear her sound, the vibration of sound. And what if that was it? You know, like even when I do these podcasts, I talk to you guys about it just literally being my diary, because I don't know who it's supposed to reach, who it's going to reach. I have to let that go. But what I feel is that it is like a living diary for me. You know, it's a living catalog of this entire experience. And if it becomes a breadcrumb for someone else, that's like the highest, like, you know, because then it moves outside of my vessel into someone else's. That's the absolute highest, okay? But what if all of this talking is just for me to be like moving energy through and flowing it through my body and allowing me to let go and release all of it? And so I was expressing that to Faith and saying, honestly, what I feel is that the gift is for you. That's it. I feel like the entire thing is for your journey to get the confidence to be you and to share your light. And if at the end of the day, if that is it, you know, and that is it, that is like amazingly beautiful. But if others it resonates with, those are the little cherries on top. And that's like, wow. But we have to do things for the people that we get the sign to do things for, or that are in our lives, because that's like, it's like the micro to the macro. If we nurture that micro seed, we don't know what it's going to grow into, and we don't need to. We have to just trust the threads, trust the universe, trust the timing, trust it all. Trust the souls that come upon this content. It all is exactly how it's supposed to be. So the other thing that happened this month is I put another thing on my calendar, which was at 11 a.m. I call it my sun bath time. And I read this book a few months ago called Beauty Renegade. And it's a gorgeous book. But what I took the most from it was our time in the sun is so valuable. And, I live in Southern California. I live in the mountains now, so like today it's a cloudy day and there isn't sun. But in the month of May, there were days that maybe it was still a little cool, but the sun was there. And if it was there, I was outside taking that hour for myself and either reading a book or meditating, doing an activation, allowing my body to absorb the sun. So what has come is I have the darkest tan probably that I ever have had, which it may be hard to see because of the lights are pretty bright in here, but also just this kind of like warming my soul from the inside out and feeling I'm supported on that level as well. And I know that sounds like what, but ultimately I know we come from the sun. I've felt this for a long time. I know we're trying to embody that part of ourselves. And if we spend the time actually nurturing that and in a way worshiping our time with it, what I've found is that it literally gives back to you. Like I've been able to move through each of these experiences, I feel, with more grace than I have in the past, which brings me to the low point of my month. And I am going to be very careful how I word this, because it is involving someone else. What I found is that I put my heart on the line here. I share myself from the core of my being, even in my low points. Even if the way I judge a situation, the way I feel a situation, I've expressed it all. And then in hindsight, I will come back and be like, but this is what I learned. Because to me, I have these points still. I'm still human. And I have these moments where I'm like, something didn't feel right there. But then maybe a year later, I come back and it's like, holy shit, like you totally missed an opportunity there. And it's coming back around in your spiral to deal with. And I try to share myself from that complete vulnerability. What I didn't realize is that others are not there. Others are not able, nor maybe do they ever want to be that open. And that led me to deleting my first episode ever. And I feel 100% good about it. And I feel it was exactly the right thing to do. And it also made me realize that I need to, in the stories that I share, protect those that are not speaking it, right? Obviously, I speak my truth. I have put my life out here on this platform, but others are not at that level of openness, and maybe they aren't meant to be, right? It's not like a judgment. It's more of like for some reason, this body, this experience for me is I need to be the raw, like open vessel that I have become. And even if my stories involve others, I have to find a way to express them in a I guess I would say in a more respectful way, even if the intent was never to harm a soul, because what I believe is that hearing it or seeing it in a platform that's outside of your body, it's like shining a huge mirror on your life and saying like, okay, here's things that maybe you can. Well, what happens is like, I'm going to give the example of my brother. in my relationship. Over a year ago, I held up a huge mirror on this platform to expose the densities in our relationship and how we related to each other. I could hold it and I wanted to move through it, but he retreated and completely pulled away from me and did not want to even talk about the shadows that were happening between us. And I respect that. And I also know that for me, this is a platform that I am working through my shadows, and I am not afraid to say I fail at things, and I'm not afraid to say that I could do something better. But I know my heart, and I know my heart is here to love. So when someone else feels that I, would intentionally hurt them, which is in the case of my brother, I have to pull back my energy and I have to allow them to go through their own healing process. Because like how I brought up how I'm learning to receive this higher octave of love, of unconditional love for no reason, so do they. So do they, right? Everybody has to be able to learn how to receive the feedback, the loop. If we are not mirrors to each other, why are we here? The difference though is that I'm open about it. I'm like throwing it out there. I'm putting it on the line. I don't care. I've let go of all of the societal attachments to my name, essentially. But it was this interaction that made me question it all and made me really wonder why, if I can't share my own faults, my own limitations when they involve others, what's the point? Why am I doing this? And the truth is yes, other people are in our experiences and they help to show us our own densities. And we need that. We need each other to go through those ups and downs. And I have to just, what I feel deep in my bones is that I had to rectify that situation. So I deleted the episode, but I also have to grow, honestly, I have to grow. I have to be more sensitive to the sensitivities of everyone, no matter where they are in their journey. And in that, I learned something, so even in the depths of this month, I learned something about myself that I was a blind spot to me, and Richard said, well, this is the second time this has happened because this happened with your brother. And I was like, oh, you're right. You're right. So I have work to do. And I am, so grateful that it's out of my subconscious and has come to my consciousness, because now I can have that dance. I can do the dance with sharing, with my vulnerability being as open as it is, and also protect those that are not that open. Okay, so those are the highs and the lows, and I want you to see there is no escaping them. There is no escaping them. The lesson here is, are we learning them? And that's why this reflecting that I put on the calendar every month is for that exact purpose. I can take and I can hold the light and I can experience the light, and I can experience the depths, the deepest emotions that arise too, because they all need expression. They all need light. And then as I wrote all these down, I'm weighing them all and seeing myself in all of it. And did I surf? Did I stay on the board, or did I fall? And I feel like I did fall at the end of the month. I felt like there was a definitely but I got up and I kept going, and I'm still going to do that. And I feel like that's the lesson of this ritual is can you enjoy the highs and can you feel the depths of the lows to find that that way to move your body enough to stay on the board? I think that's the purpose, because honestly, we're riding through time at a lightning speed now, and we have to get almost savvy at them all, savvy at the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, and moving along. And even if we fall, loving ourselves enough to pick ourselves back up and keep going. That's what it is. That's what it is. So I hope this episode is helpful for you. And again, I just want to say thank you to it all, because I needed it all, obviously, or it wouldn't have happened. So thank you guys, and I will see you next week.